When you hear that music, you know we're back on the SportsMax zone with action out of Europe's Premier Cup competition, the UEFA Champions League. We begin our recap from Italy as the city of Naples was the backdrop for the first leg clash between Napoli and Barcelona at Diego Armando Maradona Stadium. Let's see how that game played out.
João Cancelo's forward ball is a good one into İlkay Gündoğan, helped on to Lamine Yamal. And it's lost by Politano. Gündoğan. Oh, it's a lovely ball into Lewandowski. The angle wasn't quite there for Robert Lewandowski, but it's a nice pass into his feet.
Yeah, lots of pace on it, nice and precise. And it's just
Gündoğan. Oh, well hit and well saved. Di Lorenzo. Osimhen climbing. It's offside anyway, but Pedri and Lewandowski, dangerous and in. Robert Lewandowski for Barcelona.
That's a world-class goal. Super play from Pedri, through the legs, I think, of one of the Napoli players, Amir Rahmani. Yeah, Lewandowski with those short touches. There have been a couple of those already in the second half. Look how close the ball is to his foot. Always a little bit of luck when it goes through the defender's legs like that. That's a free kick for handball.
Koundé. Lamine Yamal. Gündoğan. Well hit by Pedri. Oh. Well, Alex Merrick got a bit lucky with that. Jesper Lindstrom, the Dane, turning it back inside to Anguissa. Osimhen on the turn and puts it in the net. The flag stays down.
Yeah, he's clearly onside. He tried to steal the ball, Ronaldo, instead of just facing up to Osimhen, getting behind him, forcing him to have a fantastic touch and try and turn you. He gambled and lost.
Here we go again, Raspadori. And the header from Anguissa is not far wide. Lobotka forward.
Nicely poised.
Inigo Martinez into Lewandowski. Gündoğan. Oh, it's just wide.
Oh, to put money on Lewandowski and able to take that ball in his stride and use his body and get a shot off on target.
All right, so Brent Sanchez, he joins us this afternoon to chime in. Brent, all's level as we head into the second leg.
Yeah, all's level. A game really of two halves for both Napoli and Barcelona. The first half dominated by Barcelona. May argue that they could have been further ahead by the halftime whistle. But the second half by Napoli, some tactical changes, a little bit more impetus and desire in their performance. And all of a sudden, some of Barcelona demons ran his head at a horrific mistake by Martinez, allowed Osimhen to turn and shoot, and it's all square going into that all-important tie back in Barcelona.
Yeah, I want to cue in now on Robert Lewandowski and that goal that, of course, gave Barcelona fans a lot of hope, a lot of confidence. It's just unfortunate that, you know, they gave up that chance and allowed the other team, of course, to equalize. But that goal from Robert Lewandowski, exactly what Barcelona paid him to do. We've seen him coming to form at the right time. And I have to say, Brent, one of my favorite goals from him this season.
Yeah, and he's that type of player. Obviously, it's not the type of season that some may have expected from him, but he's arguably one of the best number 10s in world football historically. And I think if you look at it from a Barcelona perspective, if they are to have some sort of silver lining in their season, surely that man Lewandowski will play a major part in it, because they cannot stop letting in goals on the other end and making silly mistakes. So the only way they could get any sort of success is through the brilliance of Lewandowski. Again, that is a difficult goal, passing it past the goalkeeper, brilliant turn. And we're seeing now that he, as you rightfully mentioned, starting to come to form.
Yeah, a lot of hope for Napoli once the fact that Victor Osimhen was announced that he will be playing for the team. He had many chances to the point where I felt he looked a shadow of himself, but he kept at it, and finally reaped that reward in the second half.
Yeah, remember, of course, this is his first set of football for a while for Napoli. He was injured back in December. From there, he went on to the African Nations Club. So, yeah, he did look a step off the pace in the first half. Really didn't do a good job in holding up the ball, allowing others to join him in the play. In the second half, he started to make the runs that I felt he needed and to make throughout the game, which is starting to stretch the likes of Araujo and Martinez and playing in behind Cancelo and really starting to cause a threat. Again, if he was a little bit more clinical, probably this game could have tilted towards Napoli's way. But we mentioned it going into this game, how important he is for Napoli. A horrific season so far for them. But again, someone that could easily turn the tide for them, and that man there on the screen, Victor Osimhen.
Yeah, very much the case, Brent. I want to look at some stats from the game, and I want to know if you agree with what the statistics are saying here. So Barcelona had just 0.7 XG for this game. That's expected goals. Their lowest in a game this season in all competitions. Is that what you saw from this Barcelona team? And then when you take into account defender Ronald Arroyo saying, we are not happy with this result, we could have won.
Yeah, I think the clear-cut chances, and that's what that stat would really speak to. They didn't really create, especially in the final third. They didn't have that cutting edge in the final third. The goal really was individual brilliance from Lewandowski. They really didn't have pattern of play trying to carve open the Napoli. We didn't see much of that. There were signs and flashes from Lamine Yamal out on the right-hand side. But outside of Lamine Yamal and, of course, Lewandowski, you really didn't see a collective from Barcelona. And I think the stat really points to that. And if I'm Xavi, that's what I would look at. I'd look at the fact that the collective offensively wasn't great, particularly building out to the midfield and trying to, of course, advance into the opponent's danger zone. It wasn't there. And maybe that's what the stat points to.
Yeah, what did you think of Pedro today?
He was off it a bit. I think he did. It wasn't his better game, one of his better games. He looked a bit sluggish in possession. He gave away the ball cheaply on a couple of occasions, something that he's, one of the things that he's known for is being very industrious and economical in his play. It certainly wasn't that today. And it's not just him. I think several players within the squad that didn't perform in a manner that you may expect. But you have to give credit, though, Ricardo, to their defensive efforts. I did point at Martinez and his poor decision on the Osimhen goal, but outside of that, I thought they were very solid defensively, something we haven't been able to see for quite a long time for Barcelona.
Yeah, so of course they head back to Spain for the second leg of this tie now. Barcelona getting the draw here. Do you suspect that it's now advantage them in this tie?
One thing I would not do for Barcelona or Napoli this season is make a bold prediction. Both teams, as I said, have been horrific, unpredictable in everything that they've done. I think within Barcelona, there's a feeling maybe, yes, they could go on a bit. But let's remember, they have not really made home. Obviously playing away from the new camp and having a horrendous time in terms of results down there. So if I'm a Napoli player coming off that pitch, I still think that the balance of the tie is within their liking because of the defensive frailty that Barcelona has. Albeit there's one mistake today made by Martinez, but they can conjure up more. And they've been very quiet offensively in terms of being able to carve Napoli open. So I think Napoli players may feel, the ones that may think they can go away and steal things. But from a broader perspective, I'm very sure Barcelona will be pegged as the favourites going into Spain.
Yeah, looking forward, Brent, to that second leg, and it will be live on your home of champions. Well, earlier today again, two-time champions FC Porto played host to travelling Premier League side Arsenal for their first leg clash in Portugal. Here are the highlights.
Something from a set play, which is one of their many strengths, but Conceição. With a chance to run at the defence, flick it in, stretch there for Gabriel. There was a chance, and It's gone wide again, and somehow Galeno is just wide-eyed, blinking, wondering quite what happened there and how that didn't end up in the back of the net.
Well, so am I. Can't quite believe this hasn't found the back of the net. This is the first real sight on goal. Great pace from Conceição on that right-hand side. Dangerous ball across. What does it hit the post? Come back to him?
Yeah. Hit the post, came back to him, and then he put it wide at the other post.
And he was so quick to react as well once he'd hit the post. And the first effort bounced back, and it came at him so quickly.
Here comes Pepe. He's away from Havertz. Pepe! And the challenge coming in from Declan Rice on Evan Nielsen. They're still hopeful that just maybe a goal-scoring opportunity might fall their team's way. Sent forward by Otavio. Nicely done. And the shot into the back of the net with the last kick in the game. Galeno brings the moment of magic.
And then Galeno, I mean, from a long way out, takes aim and fires one into that far corner. David Raya may think he should have done better. Looked like he jumped a little early. It's not gone in right in the top corner. So I think the goalkeeper will be questioned. No doubt in the quality and the bend of that effort from Galeno.
Porto have got something to hang on to, something to take to London, a tangible lead in this round of 16 tie. There goes the final whistle. And it is a famous night at the Dragao.
Well, Brent Sancho is still with us. And Brent, the headlines have been reading, Arsenal, despite the first leg tie lost, didn't do much wrong.
Yeah, they didn't do much wrong, and most Arsenal fans will see the glass as half full. But I did say that I cannot put my trust in this Arsenal team. There is zero leadership there. They don't know how to win ugly. And when you look at the teams that win this type of competition that is successful, whether it be league format or the Champions League, they win every time. They find ways to win. They look at ways to win. Yes, Arsenal played their part. We did mention it was a difficult place to go and play, of course, in Portugal. But that being said, you as possible contenders for that Champions League trophy at the end of the season, those are the type of games you try to dig out. Unfortunately for Arsenal, of course, Porto had other plans, and it doesn't make this tie necessarily straightforward going back to the Emirates, because from what Porto has shown, they're very capable of putting Arsenal in very uncomfortable situations.
Yeah, and what about that late screamer from Galeno to ensure that Porto won the first leg of the tie? My producer has already said this is a contender for the SportsMax class moment.
I think he's very correct, because it was a terrific goal. It was inch perfect, well taken. In that fact, I heard the commentator mention that the goalkeeper may be at fault here. I think he's very wrong. I don't think anything the goalkeeper could have done here. Positioning was right. That is as inch perfect as you can get it. There's not many goalkeepers, if any, in world football can get to that. It's a superb goal by a player that's in form as well for Porto. A tremendous goal, the timing of it, and of course what it means as we go into the second tie for Porto. They have something to hold on to, and that means that Arsenal will have to be the protagonist when they go back to the Emirates.
Yeah, 0 shots on target in this game for Arsenal, Brent. It's the first time in 2 years that they've gone through an entire game without having a shot on target. How disappointed will they be with that?
I think very, and it goes back to the point I made about champions find ways to win games. And I'm looking at some of the reports suggesting that Arsenal was playing for a draw. No one in world football plays for a draw. Every single match you play to win it. And I'm very sure that's what Arteta had in his mind. And it looked like they were very comfortable, the players that is, to relax on their laurels and try to run away with a point. And that's what I mean about leadership. For Patrick Vieira, had the armband, or Tony Adams, they would not be allowing their teammates to think that way. They would have been driving and dragging them on. And I just feel that is that little extra bit that Arsenal lacks to really run away with this champion, because they do have the type of squad. But I think that little extra bit that is needed to win trophies, I think that's what's lacking from them.
Yeah, well, Brent, we know that you have the football know-how to have an idea of what Mikel Arteta is thinking, but I think it's best we hear from the man himself.
Obviously that we have to manage much better when you cannot win in the way we handle the ball in 3 occasions in deep areas. It's not good enough, and then there is half time. You know, you want to win the quarterfinals, you have to beat your opponent, and this is what we have to do at the Emirates now.
What do you think you were lacking out there tonight?
We lack threat. We lack much more threat, more aggression, especially when we had the ball in the final third, especially in the back as well, more purpose to hurt them. So we will tweak a few things to attack better, especially because, to be fair, we haven't conceded at all, but we can do better.
Yeah, lacking threat, lacking aggression, lacking purpose in the final third. I think pretty much what Brent Sancho was saying. Brent, I saw a suggestion from a number of individuals that tonight Arsenal did not adjust to the way that this game was refereed. A number of slight fouls, I would say, called on Arsenal, and the suggestion is that they didn't handle it very well. How did you see it?
Yeah, and it goes back to experience, it goes back to leadership, it goes right back to what I'm saying, because when you play those sort of games, whether you're a Caribbean nation that playing against a Central American team, you are expecting from an experience perspective, your leaders in the team that would tell you the calmer heads will prevail and understand the type of game that, you know, it's very similar here for Arsenal in this sort of situation, coming up against a continental side and a continental officiating, which is different than the EPL. When you play the Champions League, that's what you expect. That is what the leaders in the field will express to the players. And, you know, it may have had an impact, but again, that is what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen when you want to win these trophies. You have to come up against adverse situations. And I think when adverse situation arises, I just feel that Arsenal struggle.
Yeah, when we look at the entire round of 16 for the Champions League, well, the first leg matches, not a lot of goals scored. I guess that wouldn't surprise you, Brent, or does it?
No, not really. I think when teams are re-engaging in this Champions League format, and we always talk about the format, it's almost like you're playing 2 separate competitions. The group stage is one, and then you have to re-engage yourself, retune yourself into the knockout stages. And the first round of games is always played with a certain amount of tentativeness in it. And that's what we saw throughout all of the fixtures. Now teams know what they need to do to either push on or of course, to get back into things. I think you may see a little bit different approaches in the second leg, and hopefully more goals.
Yeah, Brent, and what's for sure is I'm really looking forward to the second legs because both matches are extremely open and anything can happen. Want to thank you so much. You've been working so hard today. You've been on our Champions League coverage and then you joined us on the SportsMax zone. So it's your time now to go take a break. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, señorita.
All right, Brent Sancho there, our SportsMax analyst, former TNT sports minister, and I can go on and on and on. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back.